What if everything you've ever dreamed of could start with one decision today? No grand moment, just a quiet choice to stop waiting. Waiting for the right time, to feel ready, or for permission to want more. How often do you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll start when things settle down? But things never settle. There's always another distraction, obligation, or excuse. Time keeps moving, whether you're ready or not. Days turn into years, and suddenly, you've spent more time waiting than living. Deep down, you feel it, that voice saying there's more to life. You bury it under routines and responsibilities, but it doesn't go away. It lingers, reminding you of the dreams you've left behind and the person you could become. Why do we hold back? Fear. Fear of the unknown, failure, and stepping outside our roles. It feels safer to stick with what's familiar, even if it's unfulfilling. But what's the real risk? Staying stuck or stepping into the unknown and discovering what's possible? Imagine shedding every label you've been given. Who would you be with no rules, no judgment, no fear? Would you recognize yourself or meet someone entirely new? Most never ask that question. They fit into roles others expect, predictable, dependable, easy to understand. But in doing so, they lose the spark that makes them truly alive. Think about it. How many people know the real you, the version that wants to stop settling and create something extraordinary? Likely very few. Why? Because your growth makes others uncomfortable. If you change, they must face their own choices, and that's hard. But their comfort isn't your responsibility. You don't owe anyone your stagnation. The life you want won't be handed to you. No one will say, now is the perfect time. That moment doesn't exist. You create it by deciding that now is the time, messy and uncertain as it may feel. Change happens through small decisions. To stop waiting, to live for yourself, to take a step even if you're unsure where it leads. Think of the stories you tell yourself. It's too late. I'm not ready. What will people think? They sound reasonable but are just excuses. What if you told yourself a different story? One where you are capable and brave. One where you're no longer defined by others' expectations. It's not about becoming someone else, but returning to who you've always been, before doubt and fear buried you. Most people never meet that version of themselves. They stay in comfort zones, mistaking comfort for happiness. But comfort is just the absence of risk. Happiness comes from growth, challenge, and stepping into who you're meant to be, even when it's uncomfortable. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. There will be doubt. But those moments prove you're alive and growing. Life isn't about waiting for perfect moments. It's about showing up even when it's hard, especially then. The life you want is already within you. It's in every choice you make to become who you're meant to be. Time will keep moving, with or without you. One day, you'll realize the life you wanted was always within reach. The question is, will you reach for it? So, what will you choose? Stay comfortable but unfulfilled? Or take the risk of becoming who you've always known you could be? The choice is yours. What if you woke up and realized the life you're living no longer feels like your own? The routines, roles, and expectations are part of a story you didn't write. You go through the motions, playing a part that others expect, but inside, you feel disconnected, maybe even invisible. Does that sound familiar? Many people feel stuck in lives they never fully chose, shaped by societal expectations or family pressures. They take the safe route. Stable job, settled life, fit in, don't make noise. But deep down, they know they're settling. You've probably tried to change before, set goals, made plans, but old habits pull you back. Doubts creep in and you tell yourself, people like me don't change. So, you stay the same, even if it feels empty. The truth is, the longer you stay stuck, the harder it gets to break free. You start to believe the story that says you're too old, too late, or too far gone to change. But what if that story isn't yours? What if your beliefs about yourself were written by others, parents, peers, or society? You've been handed a script and played your part perfectly. But that script doesn't define your future. Here's the truth. You are not who you think you are. You're not your past mistakes, labels, job, appearance, or achievements. These are pieces of your story, not the whole picture. Breaking free starts with understanding why you feel stuck in the first place. Why you feel stuck. 1. Fear of change. Change is uncomfortable and forces you to confront the unknown. But staying the same is far more dangerous than the risk of change. Every day you stay stuck, you lose time to a life that isn't truly yours. 2. Lack of purpose. Without a sense of purpose, you drift through life. Purpose isn't found. It's created by aligning your actions with what matters to you. 3. Low confidence. You've been told who you are for so long that you've forgotten your potential. Confidence isn't innate. It's built through action, even when you're scared. These barriers aren't permanent. You can rewrite your story and transform into someone the world no longer recognizes. Disappear from the life that's holding you back. Disappearing isn't about running away or starting over elsewhere. It's about mentally and emotionally detaching from what no longer serves you. Here's how to start. 1. Detach from expectations. Stop living for other people's approval. It's okay to let others feel surprised or uncomfortable by your growth. 2. Audit your environment. Your surroundings shape your mindset. If you're surrounded by negativity, you'll feel stuck. Distance yourself from people and content that reinforce your old identity. 3. Let go of your old identity. The hardest part of disappearing is releasing your past self. You're not your past choices or mistakes. You have permission to change. Transform your life from the inside out. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of intentional, consistent action. Steps to begin. 1. Shift your mindset. Challenge the stories you tell yourself. Replace self-doubt with self-belief. Ask, what if I succeed? 2. Create new habits. Your habits shape your identity. Start small. Wake up earlier, exercise, journal, or read more. These small actions compound over time, reshaping you. 3. Take risks. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. Apply for that job, start that project, or speak up. Each risk builds confidence and shows you're capable of more. Become unrecognizable in 2025. By next year, you could be someone entirely new to others and yourself. But this won't happen by accident. It requires choosing to disappear from your old life and step into a new one. How to stay on track. 1. Protect your energy. Transformation takes energy. Don't waste it on draining activities. Limit social media. Say no to distractions and prioritize your well-being. 2. Surround yourself with growth-minded people. Your environment matters. Find people who challenge you to grow and celebrate your progress. 3. Embrace the unknown. The life you want won't come with a map. There will be fear and uncertainty, but that's where real growth happens. When you step into the unknown and discover what you're capable of. Imagine this, the story of a quiet reinvention. There's someone you know, let's call him Daniel. He's quiet, blends into the background, and follows the same routine every day. To the world, he's invisible, a supporting character in everyone else's life, and he feels it every single day. For years, Daniel tried to fit in. He followed the path he thought he was supposed to take, but deep down he felt stuck. Until one day, he had a quiet realization. I can't keep living like this. That thought planted a seed that would change everything. Without telling anyone, Daniel decided to disappear, not physically, but from his old identity. He stopped seeking approval and started making decisions that aligned with his true self. He prioritized his health, set boundaries, read books, and cut distractions. Slowly, he shed the layers of who he used to be. Months passed, and then one day, Daniel reappeared. But this wasn't the same Daniel people once knew. He walked into the room with quiet confidence. People who had once overlooked him took notice. "Is that Daniel?" Someone whispered. What happened? Simple. Daniel stopped waiting for permission to change. Reinvention stories we know and love. History is full of stories of quiet reinvention. Take J.K. Rowling, a struggling single mother rejected by publishers. She disappeared into her work, and when she reemerged, she changed the world of literature. Or Steve Jobs, who was fired from his own company. He stepped back, worked on himself, and returned to transform Apple into one of the world's most iconic brands. Then there's Robert Downey Jr., whose career nearly ended due to addiction and legal trouble. He disappeared, rebuilt his life, and returned as one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, redefining his legacy as Iron Man. Even in pop culture, we see this pattern. Think of Batman. Bruce Wayne disappears to train and returns as a symbol of justice. Or Rocky Balboa. He starts as an overlooked underdog, but transforms into a champion through relentless training and belief. These stories remind us that transformation is possible. The difference between those who change and those who don't is simple. A decision, the moment of choice. Change starts when you decide you're done playing small. But deciding to change is scary. It means stepping into the unknown and letting go of who you've been. What's scarier? Waking up 10 years from now, realizing you've wasted a decade living someone else's life. The question is, what will you choose? Will you keep playing the role you've been given? Or will you disappear from that old version of yourself and reemerge as someone unrecognizable? The quiet power of disappearing. Disappearing doesn't mean running away. It means stepping back from the noise, expectations, and distractions to create space for clarity. Here's how to start. 1. Step back from social media. Disengage from the constant stream of opinions and comparisons. Focus on your inner world instead of seeking outside validation. 2. Say no more often. Protect your time and energy. Say no to things that don't align with your goals. 3. Create a personal mission statement. Define who you want to become. Write it down and let it guide your actions. 4. Embrace solitude. Spend time alone to reflect, journal, and meditate. Clarity comes in moments of quiet. The path to reinvention in 2025. Disappear, transform, reemerge. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path leads to the life you've always known, safe, predictable, but unfulfilling. The other path? It leads to the unknown, a life of growth, transformation, and self-discovery. Most people choose a familiar path, but true change happens on the second path, the one where you shed your old identity, disappear from limitations, and reemerge stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Here's how you can take that journey in 2025. 1. Detach from your old identity. The first step to transformation is letting go of the identity that's keeping you stuck. We often live according to expectations set by family, society, or even ourselves. But those expectations aren't your truth. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? If no one's opinion mattered, what would I do differently? Most people struggle with this because they've never allowed themselves to dream beyond their limitations. But that's where your reinvention begins. 2. Journal your ideal future self. Take time to write down who you want to become. What does your future self do for a living? How do they dress? How do they spend their days? What relationships do they nurture? This exercise gives you clarity on what's possible. When you read it back, ask yourself, what's stopping me from becoming this person? Spoiler, it's you. 3. Build your mental armor. Transformation begins in your mind. Without a mindset shift, you'll fall back into old habits. You need mental armor to protect yourself from doubts and negativity. Here's how to start. Cut out distractions like social media and constant news. Focus on positive inputs, books, podcasts, and people that inspire you. Eliminate comparisons that make you feel inadequate. 4. Practice a morning routine. Your mornings set the tone for your day. Create a simple routine to build mental resilience. 1. Gratitude. Spend 5 minutes listing what you're thankful for. 2. Affirmations. Speak positive statements aloud, such as, "Oh, I am capable of change. Oh, I am becoming my best self." 3. Visualization. Close your eyes and picture your ideal future self in detail. These small habits rewire your brain to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. 5. Craft your new persona. Your new life requires a new identity. Think about the people you admire. They've created a persona that aligns with who they want to be. Now it's your turn. Start with small changes. Change how you dress to reflect confidence. Try a new haircut that makes you feel bold. Improve your posture to radiate strength. These may seem like surface-level changes, but they affect how you see yourself and how others perceive you. Next, focus on skills and knowledge. What skills does your future self have? What knowledge do they possess? Commit to learning something new. Take an online course. Read personal development books. Start a new hobby. Every step brings you closer to becoming that version of yourself. 6. Embrace solitude for growth. Disappearing doesn't mean isolation. It means creating space to grow without outside interference. When you step away from social media, toxic environments, and constant validation, you create room for genuine transformation. Here's how to do it. Take a social media break for a few weeks. Focus on personal projects without distractions. Reflect and journal to process your thoughts. This period of solitude is like incubation, a time for growth before you reemerge. 7. Reemerge with purpose. When you're ready to return, do so with quiet confidence. Let your actions speak for you. People will notice the change, the confidence in your eyes, the clarity in your decisions, the strength in your presence. But remember, you're not transforming for others. You're doing it for you. 8. Focus on meaningful work and relationships. When you reemerge, focus on what truly matters. Pursue your passions. Build relationships with people who inspire and support you. Cut out anything that no longer aligns with your new identity. Transformation isn't about impressing others. It's about becoming someone who inspires yourself. Reinvent yourself. Disappear, transform, reemerge. When was the last time you did something solely for yourself? Most of us live on autopilot, following routines, meeting expectations, and playing roles we never chose. The result? A nagging sense of dissatisfaction. If you've ever asked, "Is this all there is?" you're not alone. Many people crave reinvention, but never make the leap because staying in their comfort zone feels safer than change. The truth? Transformation won't happen unless you stop asking for permission. The decision to change must come from you. What's holding you back? Reflect for a moment. Are you afraid of judgment? Do you doubt your ability to change? Are you clinging to routines that no longer serve you? Most people are held back by their own mindset. Thoughts like, "I'm not ready," or "What if I fail?" keep them stuck. But there's no perfect moment to transform. Change happens when you take small, imperfect steps daily. What does disappearing mean? Disappearing doesn't mean running away from your life. It's about letting go of an outdated identity and stepping away from distractions to focus on your own growth. Ask yourself, are you living your own story or someone else's? Did you choose your career out of passion or obligation? Are your routines aligned with your happiness? If your life feels like someone else's script, it's time to take control and rewrite your story. Why most people stay stuck. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap. You'll never feel 100% ready, and doubts will never fully disappear. Real transformation requires action, messy, uncomfortable, imperfect action. Ask yourself, when was the last time I took a risk purely for my growth? Staying the same is the biggest risk of all. Your future self is waiting. Picture your future self a year from now. Imagine you've taken the steps to transform. Are they more confident, more fulfilled, living a life they love? Now imagine the opposite. Which version of yourself would you be proud of? Take action now. 1. Detach from your old identity. Journal your future self. 2. Build mental armor. Create a morning routine. 3. Craft your new persona. Change your style and learn new skills. 4. Embrace solitude. Take a social media break. 5. Re-emerge with purpose. Focus on meaningful work and relationships. Disappear, transform, re-emerge. The truth about reinvention. Transformation isn't easy. It's not a glamorous, overnight success story. It's painful, messy, and requires sacrifice. If you're not ready to face that discomfort, you'll remain stuck in the same cycle you've been trapped in for years. Think about it. Every major change begins with a breaking point. For some, it's a crisis, a breakup, financial collapse, or loss. But you don't have to wait for rock bottom. You can choose transformation now, before the world forces it upon you. Here's the truth. Most people who reinvent themselves didn't wait for dramatic wake-up calls. They acted when life was still okay because they realized that okay isn't good enough. Ask yourself, is your life just okay? Are you coasting, meeting expectations, while knowing you're capable of more? If yes, this is your wake-up call. You don't need anyone's permission to change. You don't need to hit rock bottom to start climbing toward a better life. The hard truth: you can't skip the pain. Transformation requires sacrifice. It means letting go of your familiar, comfortable identity. It's lonely, uncomfortable, and will challenge everything you think you know about yourself. What's holding you back? Fear? Doubt? Comfort? If you aren't willing to let go of who you've been, you'll stay exactly where you are. The hard truth is that most people never make it past this point. They'll feel inspired for a moment, then say, maybe later, but not you. You're still here. That means you're already ahead of most people. Are you ready to shed your old self? Picture yourself 6 months from now. You've taken this seriously. You've let go of your old identity, built mental armor, crafted a new persona, and embraced solitude for growth. Now, imagine the alternative, staying exactly where you are. Same routines, same doubts, same insecurities. Which version feels better? Transformation requires shedding the parts of yourself that no longer serve you. Think of it like a snake shedding its skin, not running from itself, but outgrowing its old self. How to start your transformation? Start small. Cut out one thing holding you back: a toxic relationship, a bad habit, or negative self-talk. Take small, intentional steps every day. It won't be easy. You'll feel lonely. Some people won't understand your change. But you're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. What's stopping you? Fear? Doubt? Comfort? These are barriers you've built for yourself. You have the power to break them down. So, what are you waiting for? Disappear, transform, re-emerge, and when you do, surprise the world and yourself with who you become. 2025, the year you become unrecognizable in the best way possible. Decide today that 2025 will be the year you become unrecognizable. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you know deep down you've settled for less than you deserve. Your story is still being written, and the next chapters are yours to claim. No one is going to hand you a fresh start. It's up to you to choose it. What's stopping you? Is it fear of failure? Comfort in familiarity? The weight of others' opinions? Ask yourself this. Are those reasons worth sacrificing the life you could be living? Now, picture yourself at the end of this year. Will you be stuck in the same routines, telling yourself the same stories? Or will you decide, right now, that things are going to change? Transformation doesn't need to be dramatic or public. The most powerful changes happen in quiet moments, when no one is watching, and you make a promise to yourself to grow. Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you've made resolutions and fallen back into old habits. That's okay. Growth isn't linear. It's messy and full of setbacks. But it's those small, consistent actions that build lasting change. Start small. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can change today? It could be as simple as choosing a positive thought, taking a walk instead of scrolling, saying no to something that drains you. These small shifts create momentum. Over time, they transform your life into one that feels completely yours. Step into your true self. Now, imagine showing up as that transformed version of yourself, walking into a room without worrying about what others think, because you know exactly who you are. Waking up with purpose, knowing your actions align with your values. That version of you is waiting. But first, you need to believe you're worth the effort. Putting yourself first might feel selfish. Good. Sometimes, prioritizing your own growth is the most radical thing you can do. Think about those who've already done it. People who disappeared for a while, only to return stronger, wiser, and more confident. What did they do? They let go of the noise, stopped living for others' approval, focused on what truly mattered to them. What's one thing you want to change? Think about it. A habit, a mindset, a relationship, a career choice. Whatever it is, commit to it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. And take one small step toward it today. The truth? No one is paying as much attention to your life as you think. The fear of judgment? It's an illusion. Most people are too busy with their own lives to notice your every move. So stop waiting for approval. This is your life. The process won't be easy. Transformation will feel uncomfortable. You will question yourself and face doubts. But every milestone in life requires stepping into the unknown. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. The difference now, you're choosing change with intention, not waiting for life to force it upon you. What would your future self thank you for? Imagine yourself a year from now. Would you thank yourself for staying the same, or for taking that first step toward growth? When you emerge from this transformation, people will notice. But by then, you won't need their validation. You'll be too focused on living your truth. Reinvent yourself. The power of transformation. You are capable of more than you think. Whatever you've been through, whatever doubts you carry, they don't define you. Your past? It's just a foundation. It's part of what brought you here, but it doesn't have to dictate where you go next. The real you, the fullest version of who you're meant to become, is waiting to break free. Unstoppable energy, reclaiming your power. There's a version of you that's been waiting to emerge. It's not about becoming someone else, but about stepping into your truest, most powerful self. The version that doesn't hold back, that refuses to settle for less than extraordinary. You already have the power. You've always had it. But somewhere along the way, life buried it beneath doubts, fears, and the expectations of others. The feeling you've been chasing. Think back to a time when you felt unstoppable. Maybe you accomplished something you once thought impossible, or stood up for yourself when you'd never dared before. That feeling is still there. It's waiting to rise again. The time has come to dig it up, reclaim it, and let it fuel your growth. Living with quiet confidence. Imagine waking up each day with unstoppable energy and confidence that comes from knowing you've done the inner work. It's not about validation from the outside world. It's about knowing that you've reinvented yourself, transformed from the inside out. And no one can take that away from you. Reinvention, a conscious choice. Reinvention doesn't happen by accident. It's a conscious decision to break through the limits you've imposed on yourself. It's not about waiting for some magical moment when you suddenly feel transformed. Transformation is a process, slow, steady, and deliberate. You've carried invisible weights for too long. Expectations, fears, labels. And now it's time to let them go. Changing the stories you tell yourself. Start by rewriting the stories you've been telling yourself. I'm not good enough. It's too late for me. People don't change. These aren't truths. They're limits you've accepted to keep you safe. But safety doesn't spark growth. Comfort zones don't lead to breakthroughs. And if you stay in them, you'll never become who you're meant to be. Break free from this narrative. Your story doesn't end where it began. Shift your mindset. Reinvention isn't just about changing your appearance or environment. It's about changing the way you see yourself. Move from I can't to I will. Shift from what if I fail to what if I succeed. This shift, though not easy, is a crucial part of the process. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But you're different. You're ready to take action, to rise. Stop playing small. You're done playing small. You're done hiding your potential. You're done living by others' rules. This transformation isn't about fame or admiration. It's about becoming limitless in your own life. Your worth isn't measured by achievements, but by the courage it takes to transform yourself from the inside out. Learn from the greats. Think of every great reinvention story. The entrepreneur who lost everything and rebuilt. The actor who disappeared and returned stronger. The person who quietly reinvented themselves without fanfare. What do they all have in common? They chose to rise when no one was watching. They chose transformation when staying the same would have been easier. Your decision to rise. You can do the same. Build a life that feels completely different from the one you're living now. But it starts with one decision. A commitment to yourself that you're done settling. You're done shrinking to fit spaces you've outgrown. You're done hiding your brilliance because others might be uncomfortable with it. This is your moment. You don't need permission. Transformation doesn't require approval. You don't need anyone's validation to start over. The only person who needs to believe in you is you. When you step away from the noise, social media, opinions, distractions, you give yourself the space to reconnect with your true self, to rediscover your passions, your values, your vision. Use solitude to fuel your growth. Let your transformation speak for itself. When you emerge from this process, don't explain yourself. Let your transformation speak for itself. People may be surprised or proud, but what matters most is that you'll feel unstoppable. You will know you had the courage to evolve, to break free from the limits you once accepted as truth, the one thing holding you back. Ask yourself, what's one limiting belief holding you back right now? What's one action you can take today to step closer to the life you've been imagining? Even the smallest action counts. Momentum builds from movement, confidence from doing. Transformation happens when you show up for yourself day after day. The future you is waiting. The future version of you is cheering you on, reminding you that everything you need to succeed is already within you. All you have to do is unlock it. Stop playing by the old rules. The rules that told you to stay small, keep your head down, and avoid risks. Those rules no longer apply. Create your own path. It's time to create your own rules, your own path, your own story. And when people see you again months or years from now, they won't recognize the person you've become. Not because you've disappeared, but because you've transformed, because you've stepped into your next level self. This is your breakthrough, your reinvention, your transformation. Remember, you're not disappearing to escape. You're disappearing to evolve. You're not walking away from your life, but towards something more, something bigger, something that only you can build. As you step into this new chapter, the world will see a new you, unshaken, unstoppable, unrecognizable in the best way. But most importantly, you will see it first. You will recognize the strength within you that has always been there, waiting to emerge. In 2025, make it count. The time to step into your power is now. And nothing at all, can stop you from becoming who you're meant to be.